I told him he's lucky I settled. He smiled, said not anymore, and walked out. I need to tell someone what I did, and you're going to think I'm terrible, but there's something about female friendship that nobody really understands. Everyone thinks my ex-fiancé Derek is the villain in this story because he walked out 3 weeks before our wedding, but the truth is I'm the one who ruined everything, and here's what really happened. The worst part about what happened isn't that he left me. It's not even the embarrassment of canceling everything or losing the deposits. The worst part is something I've never told anyone, not my therapist, not my mom, not even my best friend Cassie, who was there for all of it. And once you know what I know, you'll understand why I can't decide if I deserved what happened, or if I was just being honest about something every woman thinks but won't say out loud. This isn't just about me telling Derek he should feel lucky I settled for him. It's about the fact that I meant it when I said it, and I've been thinking it for months, maybe years, and the part that makes me look worst, I'm saving that for the end because you need to understand how I got there first. You need to see that I wasn't always like this, that something changed in me, something that started long before Derek and has everything to do with why I'm 32 and still sleeping on Cassie's couch. I met Derek at a charity gala 5 years ago. I was 27, working in marketing for a tech startup, wearing a dress I'd bought specifically because it made me look successful without trying too hard. Derek was there with his law firm, standing by the bar with his tie slightly loosened, looking exactly like what my mother would call husband material. He wasn't the hottest guy I'd ever dated. That was Marcus from college, who had abs you could see through his shirt and a complete inability to hold down a job. Derek wasn't the richest either. That was probably Tyler, the finance bro who took me to the Maldives but also took calls during sex. Derek was something else. He was steady, reliable, the kind of guy who texted back within 20 minutes and actually wanted to meet my parents. You seem different, he told me on our third date. We were at some Italian place in the city, the kind with candles in wine bottles and checkered tablecloths. Like you actually have your life together. I remember laughing, feeling flattered. You too, it's refreshing. What I didn't say was that I was exhausted. Exhausted from dating apps, from guys who wanted to keep things casual, from my friends getting engaged while I pretended not to care. Derek felt like relief, like I could finally stop trying so hard. We dated for 2 years before he proposed, and they were good years. Not fireworks and passion years, but comfortable ones. He met me for lunch near my office. He remembered which wine I liked. He got along with my dad, which was saying something because my dad thought most of my exes were flaky idiots, and he wasn't exactly wrong. The proposal happened at the same restaurant where we'd had our third date. He'd made this whole speech about how he knew from the beginning that I was the one, how he couldn't imagine his life without me. The ring was beautiful, exactly what I would have picked. A classic solitaire, nothing too flashy, nothing too boring. Yes, I said, and I meant it. I think I meant it. Everyone was thrilled. My mom cried happy tears for the first time in years. Cassie screamed when I FaceTimed her from the restaurant bathroom. My Instagram post got 400 likes. One of my college friends commented, "Finally, you deserve this." And there it was, that word, deserve. Like I'd earned this somehow. Like finding a man who wanted to marry me was an achievement I'd unlocked after years of grinding. And maybe that's exactly how I saw it too, even though I didn't realize it yet. The wedding planning started immediately. My mom had a Pinterest board ready within hours, I'm not even kidding. Cassie agreed to be my maid of honor before I even asked. Derek's mom started sending me links to venues, each one more expensive than the last. "Whatever you want, sweetheart," Derek kept saying. "This is your day, not our day." Looking back, maybe that should have told me something. We settled on a date 15 months out. Garden venue, early October when the leaves would just be starting to change. 200 guests, open bar, a string quartet for the ceremony and a DJ for the reception. My dress cost more than my first car, and I didn't even feel guilty about it because this was supposed to be perfect. But here's the thing about wedding planning that nobody tells you: it becomes your entire personality. Every conversation with friends turned into dress fittings and cake tastings. My social media became a highlight reel of engagement shoots and vendor meetings. Even at work, people would ask about the wedding before they asked about actual projects. And Derek was just kind of there, agreeing to everything, nodding along, letting me make decisions. At first, I thought it was sweet that he trusted my judgment. Then I started thinking it meant he didn't care. Then I started wondering if it meant he wasn't capable of having opinions at all. "Do you like the dusty rose or the mauve for the bridesmaid dresses?" I asked him one night, holding up fabric swatches. He glanced up from his laptop. "They look the same to me, babe, whatever you think." "They're completely different colors, Derek. Then pick your favorite, I'm sure it'll look great." I picked mauve. The bridesmaids hated it, but that's not the point. The point is that somewhere in those months of planning, I started noticing all the little ways Derek was just fine, just okay, just adequate. He was a good lawyer but not a partner track superstar. He was in decent shape but had started developing a little gut from all the client dinners. He was nice to waiters and held doors open and did everything right, but there was no edge to him, no fire, nothing that made my heart race. Just when I thought I was being a terrible person for thinking these things, Cassie made it worse. We were having drinks at our usual spot, this wine bar near her apartment, about 8 months before the wedding. I'm so jealous, she said, already on her second glass of rose. You found a good one. Do you know how rare that is? I know, I said. Like, I'm out here dealing with guys who ghost after 3 dates or are still obsessed with their exes or have weird relationships with their moms. And you've got Derek, stable, employed, emotionally available Derek. She said it like he was a participation trophy, like he was the sensible choice, the safe bet, the guy you pick when you're tired of playing the game. He's great, I said, because what else could I say? You're so lucky, Cassie continued, signaling for another drink. Honestly, you're living the dream. Wedding in 6 months, then you can start trying for kids, get the house in the suburbs, the whole thing. Lucky. There was that word again. I went home that night and looked at Derek, really looked at him. He was on the couch in sweatpants watching some documentary about World War II, eating chips straight from the bag. He smiled when he saw me, that same reliable smile, and patted the cushion next to him. How's Cassie? He asked. Good, jealous of us apparently, he laughed. She'll find someone, she's great. And that was it, that was the whole conversation. No curiosity about why she was jealous, no deeper discussion about our relationship. Just chips and documentaries and that comfortable, suffocating normalcy. I started comparing him to my exes. I know, everyone says that's relationship poison, but I couldn't help it. Marcus would have done something spontaneous that night, something reckless and exciting. Tyler would have taken me somewhere expensive, made me feel special. Even Jake, who I dated for 3 months senior year, had written me poetry. Bad poetry, but still. What did Derek do? He existed. He was present and accountable and stable, and suddenly all those things felt like the bare minimum instead of actual qualities. The thought that really got me, the one I couldn't shake, came about 3 months before the wedding. I was at my final dress fitting, standing on a platform in front of 3 mirrors while the seamstress pinned the hem. My mom was there, crying again, telling me how beautiful I looked. Derek's going to lose it when he sees you, she said, and I thought, why? Why would he lose it? I'm pretty sure, but I'm not some model, I'm not even the prettiest girl he's dated. I saw his ex on Facebook once and she looked like she could be in a shampoo commercial. Then I thought, I'm definitely the most successful woman he's dated. I make good money, I have ambition, I have my shit together. His ex was a yoga instructor, for God's sake. And then the really toxic thought, he should be grateful. He's punching above his weight with me. I know how that sounds, I know. But once that thought was in my head, it spread like mold. Every little thing Derek did started to seem like evidence that he didn't appreciate what he had. He forgot to compliment my hair after I spent $200 on highlights. He didn't notice when I lost 5 pounds stress dieting for the wedding. He got me a Vitamix for my birthday, which is a gift you get someone you're married to, not someone you're trying to impress. It's practical, he said when I didn't react with enough enthusiasm. You're always saying you want to eat healthier. Practical, the word felt like an insult. I started testing him, just little things. I'd mention something I wanted to see if he was paying attention. I'd wear a new outfit and wait to see if he noticed. I'd bring up problems at work to see if he'd give me advice that was actually insightful or just his usual. That's tough, babe, but you'll figure it out. He failed most of the tests. Not dramatically, just consistently. Like a B- student who never quite gets to an A. Cassie noticed I was being weird. We were addressing wedding invitations at my apartment, and I was on my 3rd glass of wine, complaining about Derek's lack of input on the seating chart. Why do I have to make every decision? I said. It's his wedding too. Because you're better at this stuff, Cassie said. He knows that, he trusts you. Or he's lazy. She looked up from the envelope she was addressing. Where is this coming from? You guys are solid, you're the couple everyone wants to be. Are we though, or are we just fine? Fine is good, fine is what lasts. You think passion and excitement last, they don't. Fine is what you build a marriage on. She meant well. She was trying to be supportive, but all I heard was you're settling, and settling is smart. The fight that ended everything happened 2 months before the wedding. We were supposed to go to his firm's summer party, one of those fancy outdoor events with partners and their wives drinking expensive wine and talking about their vacation homes. I bought a new dress. Navy blue, fitted, showed just enough without being inappropriate for a work event. I'd got my hair blown out. I looked good, maybe the best I'd looked in months. Derek came out of the bedroom in khakis and a polo shirt. That's what you're wearing? I asked. He looked down at himself. What's wrong with it? It's a partner event, Derek. You look like you're going to play golf. It's business casual. This is business casual. It's boring casual. Do you even care about making an impression? He sighed, that long-suffering sigh that had started appearing more often in our fights. It's just a work thing, Claire. I'm not trying to impress anyone. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe you're not trying hard enough at anything. The words came out sharper than I intended, but I didn't take them back. I wanted him to react, to fight back, to show me something other than that patient, understanding expression. What's that supposed to mean? He asked, and his voice was so calm it made me angrier. It means you coast, Derek, through everything, your job, your life, us. You just coast on being fine and nice and adequate, and everyone acts like that's enough. Adequate? He said it like he was testing the word. You think I'm adequate? I think you're comfortable. I think you stopped trying the second I said yes to marrying you. Now I was getting somewhere. I could see something shifting in his face, some crack in that eternal patience. That's not fair, he said. I show up for you every day. I support your career. I plan dates. I'm here. You're here. Wow. What a ringing endorsement. You're physically present. Should I throw you a parade? What do you want from me, Claire? Seriously, what would be enough? And there it was, the opening I'd apparently been waiting for. The chance to say what I'd been thinking for months. I want you to act like you know how lucky you are, I said. I want you to appreciate that someone like me is marrying someone like you. The silence that followed was so complete I could hear the neighbor's TV through the wall. Derek just stared at me. Not angry, not defensive, just staring like he was seeing me for the first time and didn't like what he was looking at. Someone like you, he repeated quietly. And someone like me. You know what I mean. Yeah, he said, I think I do. He went to the party without me, told his colleagues I was sick. I spent the night drinking wine and hate scrolling through Instagram, looking at couples who seemed happier than us, more in love, more exciting. He came home late, and I pretended to be asleep. We didn't talk about it the next day or the day after that. We just went back to planning the wedding like nothing had happened, but something had shifted. He was quieter, more distant, or maybe I just finally noticed what had been there all along. 3 weeks before the wedding, everything was ready. The final payment had been made to the venue. My dress was hanging in the closet. The favors were assembled. My out-of-town guests had booked their hotels. We were in the home stretch, and I felt nothing. Not excitement, not nervousness, just this hollow sense of going through motions. Derek had been staying late at work a lot. I told myself it was because he was trying to clear his schedule for the honeymoon, but I knew better. He was avoiding me. We were two people living in the same apartment, planning the same wedding, completely disconnected. The night it happened, I'd made dinner, trying, I guess, to fix things without addressing the actual problem. Chicken piccata, which was his favorite, with a bottle of wine that cost more than it should have. He came home at 8, looking exhausted. Loosened tie, rumpled shirt, the kind of tired that lives in your bones. This looks great, he said, sitting down at the table. You didn't have to do all this. I wanted to. We haven't had a real dinner together in weeks. We ate in silence for a while. The chicken was good. The wine was good. Everything was good and terrible at the same time. We should talk about the seating chart, I said, because I couldn't handle the quiet anymore. Your cousin emailed me asking to be moved away from your aunt. Sure, he said, whatever you think is best. And something in me just snapped. Can you stop doing that? I said. Can you stop deferring to me on everything? Can you have an opinion about literally anything related to our wedding? I thought you wanted to make those decisions. I want a partner, Derek. Someone who's actually invested in building a life together, not just showing up to one I build for him. He set down his fork carefully, precisely, like he was trying to control something. I'm invested. I'm here every day trying to make you happy, trying to be what you need. But you're not, though. You're just the guy who's around, the guy who's nice, the guy who checks boxes. What boxes, Claire? What am I checking? The ones that matter. Stable job, wants to get married, not a complete disaster. You're the guy women settle for when they're tired of looking for something better. I said it. I finally said out loud what had been bouncing around my head for months, and the relief I felt was immediately crushed by the look on his face. You settled, he said, not a question, a statement. I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it then? Because it sounded pretty clear. I could have backtracked. Could have said I was just frustrated that I didn't mean it, but I was so tired of pretending, of trying to convince myself that fine was enough. Everyone settles, I said. That's what relationships are. You find someone who meets enough of your criteria and you build a life. That's reality, Derek. That's how this works. And I meet enough of your criteria. Yes, you do. You're exactly what I should want. Should want, not what you do want. It's the same thing. Grow up, Derek. Nobody gets the fairy tale. Nobody gets everything. You find someone good enough and you make it work. He nodded slowly, like something was settling into place in his mind. Then he stood up, walked to the bedroom, and I heard drawers opening. I followed him. He was packing a bag, moving with this quiet efficiency that was somehow scarier than if he'd been angry. What are you doing? I asked. I need to stay somewhere else tonight. Derek, come on, we can talk about this. I don't think we can, he said, still packing. I don't think there's anything to say. You're being dramatic. Every couple has fights. This is just pre-wedding stress. He stopped, turned to look at me with this expression I'd never seen before. It was almost pity. Claire, do you even love me? Not the idea of me, not the boxes I check, me. The question hung there, and I knew the answer. I knew it, and he could see that I knew it, and that was worse than anything I could have said. Of course I love you, I said, but we both heard how hollow it sounded. He finished packing, zipped the bag, and headed for the door. I followed him, panic rising now because this felt real in a way our other fights hadn't. Where are you going? I asked. My brother's place. I need to think. About what? About us? Derek, the wedding is in 3 weeks. We have 200 people coming. We have deposits. We have plans. We have a relationship where you think you settled for me, he said. Where you see me as adequate, as good enough, as what you should want instead of what you do want. I didn't mean it like that, I said again, desperate now. You're twisting my words. Am I? Because I've been thinking about that fight we had, the one before the summer party. When you said I should appreciate that someone like you is marrying someone like me, I let it go because I thought you were just stressed, but you meant it, didn't you? You really think you're doing me a favor. No, you do. You think I'm lucky, you think I'm punching above my weight, you think you're the prize and I'm just the guy who happened to win you. The accuracy of it stung. I wanted to deny it, but the words wouldn't come. I'm not lucky, Claire, he said, his hand on the doorknob. I thought I was. For 3 years I thought I was the luckiest guy alive because I got you. But you know what? I deserve someone who feels lucky to have me too, not someone who thinks they settled. You're just going to leave. 3 weeks before our wedding, do you know how selfish that is? And here's the part I'll never forget. He smiled. Not a happy smile, not a cruel smile, just the sad knowing smile that said he finally understood something. You're right, he said. I am lucky. Lucky I'm figuring this out now instead of 5 years and 2 kids from now. Lucky I get to find someone who actually wants me, not just accepts me as adequate. Derek, wait, not anymore, Claire, I'm not lucky anymore. And neither are you. He walked out just like that, bag over his shoulder, smile on his face, gone. I stood in the doorway of our apartment watching him walk down the hall to the elevator and I waited for him to turn around. He didn't. The elevator doors opened, he got in, they closed, and that was it. He texted me the next day, just I think you know this is over. I'll handle my half of the cancellations. I'm sorry. Sorry, he was sorry. The fallout was spectacular. My mom had a breakdown when I told her. Cassie immediately went into damage control mode, calling vendors, managing the social media narrative, trying to salvage what could be salvaged. My dad just looked disappointed, which was somehow worse than if he'd yelled. What did you do? He asked. Nothing, he just left. Men like Derek don't just leave, Claire, not 3 weeks before a wedding. What did you do? I couldn't tell him, couldn't tell anyone the real reason. So the story became Derek got cold feet. Derek wasn't ready. Derek couldn't handle commitment. I let everyone think he was the villain and I was the victim, and I told myself I was protecting us both from the messier truth. But Cassie knew. Not because I told her, but because she knew me. We were packing up the wedding favors I'd spent 3 weekends making, little succulents in white ceramic pots with our initials on them. We were going to donate them to a nursing home or something, and I was just mechanically wrapping them in newspaper, trying not to think about anything. What did you say to him? Cassie asked quietly. What, Derek, what did you say? Because I know you, Claire, I know how you get when you feel trapped, you lash out. I didn't lash out. Then what happened? Because the Derek I know wouldn't just bail unless something really bad went down. I kept wrapping succulents. Newspaper and tape. Newspaper and tape. I told him the truth, I finally said. What truth? That I settled, that he was good enough, that he should be grateful someone like me was marrying someone like him. Cassie stopped packing, just stopped, hands frozen over a box of favors. You said that to him? He twisted it. I was just being honest about how relationships work. Nobody gets everything they want. You find someone who checks enough boxes and, oh my God, Claire. Oh my God, you actually think that? It's true, you said it yourself. You said I was lucky to find a good one, that he was stable and employed, and I didn't mean settle, I meant you found someone who treats you well, who loves you. That's not settling, that's winning. But I didn't feel like I won, I felt like I was giving up. The words came out louder than I intended, echoing in my apartment full of wedding decorations I'd have to take down. Giving up on what? Cassie asked. What were you giving up? The drama? The guys who treat you like shit but give you butterflies? That's not love, Claire, that's addiction. You don't understand. No, I do. I understand that you sabotaged the best relationship you've ever had because you're too broken to accept that someone could just love you without games or drama or proving yourself. Don't psychoanalyze me. Then stop acting like a case study. Derek was good to you. He showed up. He tried. And you threw it away because what? He wasn't exciting enough. He didn't make you feel like you had to earn his love every day. She was right. I knew she was right, but admitting it felt impossible. He left me, I said instead. 3 weeks before our wedding, he left. Because you told him he was lucky you settled for him. What did you expect him to do? Thank you. I didn't have an answer for that. The social media aftermath was its own special hell. I documented every part of our relationship online. The proposal, the ring, the planning, the countdown. My feed was a shrine to a wedding that wasn't happening. I could have been honest, could have posted something about mutual decision, growing apart, whatever. But I was so angry, so hurt, so desperate to not be the villain that I let everyone think he abandoned me. The comments were brutal for him. He doesn't deserve you. His loss. You dodged a bullet. What kind of man leaves 3 weeks before the wedding? Every comment felt like validation and poison at the same time. People were on my side, but they were on my side against a guy who'd done nothing but love me and expect to be loved back. His friends knew the truth, I think. A few unfollowed me. His brother posted some vague thing about knowing your worth that was clearly directed at me. But mostly, Derek just disappeared from social media, from our mutual friends, from my life. I moved in with Cassie because I couldn't afford our apartment alone and couldn't stand to be there anyway. She gave me her spare room and tried to be supportive, but I could feel her judgment. She'd loved Derek, she'd been excited to be in our wedding, and I'd blown it up for reasons she thought were insane. Are you going to try to fix this? She asked one night about 2 weeks after he left. How he won't talk to me. Have you actually tried, like really tried? I had. I texted him long apologies that he didn't respond to. I'd called and gone straight to voicemail. I'd even gone to his brother's apartment but no one answered and I'm pretty sure they were just hiding inside. What do you want me to say, Cassie? Sorry I told you the truth about how I feel. How about sorry I was too damaged to recognize love when it was right in front of me? How about sorry I needed you to be broken too so I could feel better about myself? That's not. It is though. You needed him to chase you to prove himself to make you feel like you won something. And when he just loved you consistently and boringly and reliably you couldn't handle it. Because if he loved you that easily, what did it say about you? I started crying. Not pretty crying, ugly crying. The kind that's been building for weeks and finally breaks through. I don't know how to do this, I said. I don't know how to be with someone without the drama, without the uncertainty. If I know they love me, if I know they'll stay, it doesn't feel real. That's so fucked up, Claire. I know. You need therapy? I know. She hugged me while I cried and I felt like a child. Like someone who'd been given something precious and smashed it just to see what would happen. The wedding date came and went. I spent it on Cassie's couch, eating ice cream and blocking everyone on social media who posted thinking of you today messages. Derek, according to mutual friends, went hiking with his brother. Just left town, disconnected, moved on like I was something to move on from. I started therapy 3 weeks later. Dr. Morrison, a woman in her 50s who'd apparently seen every flavor of relationship dysfunction and was unimpressed by mine. Tell me about Derek, she said in our first session. I gave her the sanitized version. Good guy, different priorities, wanted different things. That's the story you tell other people, she said. What's the story you tell yourself? That I fucked up, that I said something terrible and he left. What did you say? So I told her all of it. The settling comment, the lucky comment, the whole belief system I'd built around relationships being about finding someone good enough and making it work. Do you believe that? She asked. That relationships are about settling? I don't know, isn't that realistic? Nobody gets everything. There's a difference between accepting that no one is perfect and believing that love is a compromise you make when you're tired of looking. One is maturity, the other is giving up. So I gave up. Did you, or did you never really try? That question lived in my head for weeks. Did I ever really try with Derek, or was I just going through the motions of a relationship I thought I should want? The truth, the one I'm still working on accepting, is that I was terrified. Terrified that if Derek loved me that easily, without me having to earn it or fight for it or prove myself, then maybe I wasn't special. Maybe I was just adequate too, just good enough, just someone he settled for. So I convinced myself I was settling first, took control of the narrative, made myself the one doing the favor instead of receiving one. Because that felt safer than accepting that someone could just love me, fully and completely, without me having to be perfect or exciting or anything other than myself. Dr. Morrison called it a defense mechanism. I called it self-sabotage. Either way, it ended the same me on a couch that wasn't mine, single at 32, explaining to a therapist why I destroyed the best relationship I'd ever had. I tried to reach out to Derek one more time, about 3 months after the non-wedding. Not to get back together, I knew that ship had sailed. Just to apologize. Really apologize, not the defensive non-apologies I'd sent before. I wrote a letter. An actual physical letter because texting felt too impersonal and calling felt too intrusive. I told him everything. About my fears, my damage, my broken understanding of love. About how he deserved better than what I gave him. About how I hoped he found someone who recognized his worth, who felt lucky every day, who never made him feel adequate. I mailed it to his brother's address since that's the only place I knew to reach him. I never heard back. But about a week after I sent it, I saw on Instagram that he'd unblocked me. Didn't follow me, didn't like anything, just unblocked me. And his profile picture was new, him with a group of friends somewhere sunny, genuinely smiling. He looked happy. He looked free, and I was glad. Genuinely glad in a way that hurt but felt clean. Like maybe I'd done something right by letting him go, even if I did it in the worst possible way. Cassie says I need to forgive myself. Dr. Morrison says I need to do the work so I don't repeat these patterns. My mom says I need to get back out there before all the good ones are taken, which is extremely unhelpful but very on brand. I'm doing the work. Going to therapy, reading the books, trying to understand why I am the way I am. Childhood stuff, previous relationship stuff, society stuff. All the usual suspects that make someone believe they're not worthy of uncomplicated love. But here's what I can't stop thinking about, the thing that keeps me up at night. I had it. I had the kind of love people write songs about, the kind that's steady and sure and shows up every day. And I looked at it and called it settling. How many other people are doing that right now? How many people are with someone good, someone kind, someone who loves them, and they're just waiting for something better to come along? Or worse, they're staying but resenting it, feeling like they're doing their partner a favor just by being there. I see it everywhere now. Friends who complain about their boyfriends being boring when they just mean stable. Women on dating apps rejecting guys for not being exciting enough when they mean not enough. Red flags. This collective delusion that love should be hard, should be earned, should feel like a constant battle to prove yourself. Derek didn't make me prove myself, he just loved me, and I couldn't handle it. The worst part, the part I've never told anyone, not even Dr. Morrison, I knew I was sabotaging it while it was happening. When I said those things to him, when I picked those fights, when I convinced myself I was settling, some part of me knew I was destroying something good. And I did it anyway, because it felt safer to be the one who walked away emotionally, even if he's the one who physically left. Safer to be the one who settled than the one who was chosen. Safer to believe I was doing him a favor than to accept that maybe, just maybe, he was doing me one. I'm telling you this story now because I need someone to know the truth. Not the version where Derek got cold feet, not the version where we wanted different things, but the real version where I told a good man he was lucky I settled for him, and he realized he deserved better. Everyone still thinks he's the villain. My mom brings him up occasionally with this tone, like she's talking about someone who committed a crime. Casual acquaintances send me "you're better off" messages when they remember. Even some of Derek's friends, the ones who don't know the full story, still treat me like the victim, and I let them. I let them think he failed me instead of admitting I failed him, because the truth makes me look terrible and I'm still too much of a coward to own it publicly. But I'm owning it here to you, whoever you are reading this. I'm the villain in this story. I'm the one who took someone's love and called it adequate, who looked at devotion and called it settling, who mistook stability for complacency and kindness for weakness. Derek was right to leave. He was right to smile. He was right that he wasn't lucky anymore. And me? I'm learning slowly that settling isn't about accepting someone who's good enough. It's about accepting yourself enough to recognize love when it shows up without fireworks and drama. It's about understanding that the butterflies and uncertainty I used to crave aren't passion, they're anxiety. I don't know if I'll ever have what Derek and I had again. I don't know if I'm capable of accepting it even if I do. But I'm trying, I'm doing the work. I'm sitting with the discomfort of knowing I destroyed something good and living with the consequences. Sometimes I wonder what he's doing. If he's dating someone new, someone who appreciates him properly. If he thinks about me at all, or if I'm just a cautionary tale he tells his friends over beers. Yeah, I almost married this girl who thought she was settling for me. Dodged a bullet there. I wonder if the new person, if she exists, knows what she has, if she feels lucky, if she tells him so. I hope she does, God, I hope she does. Because Derek deserved to feel like a prize, not a consolation. He deserved someone who ran toward him, not someone who convinced herself staying was noble. He deserved better than me, at least the me I was then. Maybe I'm better now. Maybe I've learned enough, healed enough, grown enough. Or maybe I'm still the same person, just with more therapy vocabulary to describe my dysfunction. I don't have a neat ending for this story. No redemption arc, no lesson learned and applied successfully, no new relationship where I do everything right. Just me on Cassie's couch, 32 years old, single, finally understanding what I had about 6 months too late. The only thing I know for sure is this: if you have someone who loves you reliably, boringly, consistently, someone who shows up and stays and doesn't make you guess or chase or prove yourself, don't do what I did. Don't call it settling. Don't look for drama where there's peace. Don't mistake their certainty for your power. Just love them back. It's simpler than you think and harder than you imagine, but it's worth it. I know because I didn't, and now I'm here, telling strangers on the internet about the good man I convinced myself I settled for, right up until he smiled and walked away. He was lucky, he said, to figure it out in time. I'm still figuring out what that makes me.